Bing bongy bong, bing bongy bong. This is Joe, the bearded historian. He'll tell you an interesting story. Be careful of his soldiers, they can be brats. This is Angel, she's an entity. She'll cause chaos and plant her hands at you. This is Sue, she likes spirits, not the alcohol. She's the reason this channel exists. This is David, he likes fire trucks. He's here occasionally. Bing bongy bong, bing bongy bong, bing bongy bong. We preserve his story. Alright, today's video is a very interesting one. It's called an event that we saw through the Night Museum in Nebraska called grave witching. Now, I had no idea what this was. We'd seen it advertised last year, but had missed the event, so we've got to go this year. It was very interesting. I was not familiar with grave witching, or at least not with that term. We had seen somebody do it in the past, way back in like 21, I think it was. One of the first year, I think it was, of us doing this. We had gone to a cemetery, and a guy said, "Do you want to see something interesting?" And we're like, "Of course, why not?" And he explained that he had the ability to find unmarked graves. And I'm like, well, that's hilariously interesting. At that time, I wasn't as comfortable as I am now recording people, so I didn't record him actually doing it. But what he did is he picked up a stick and walked to a place, and he showed us the ends of the grave, and one that wasn't marked, and it was so interesting. And what this event is that it's finding unmarked graves. And these people do it with dowsing rods. And I've seen other people use dowsing rods, usually for paranormal activity, finding ghosts and spirits and things like that. And I know I'm not still enough to do it. You have to be pretty still, pretty patient, and I'm not those things. But it was fun to watch, and Joe tried it, so hopefully you enjoy it, find it interesting as we did. Like, share, comment, and have a good day. Alright, I'll just try this again. Alright, so we have got Hiking Ontario, RC, Mindfolk, Patty, Railroad, Gracie, A&M, Michael, Thornton, Crazy Train, Carnival, Lower, Alice, Mindfork, Stony, Dorman, Scrapping, Graph, Dirt Digger, Brick Girls, Michael, Reverend, Creek, Marland, Big Ben, Patty, Gracie, RC, Black Beauty, Litter, Judy, Sea Tripping, Spectral, Iron, Win, Creek, Hillbilly. Oh, it's Creek. Hold on. Okay, this is headed to the creek. Husband and wife team, family and friends. They do a lot of outdoor stuff, as you can see. Hasn't posted in a while, but we got some shorts that include singing, which apparently I haven't seen the most recent one. I don't remember seeing that one. Don't look that one up. But yeah, Creek is fun. Hasn't posted in a while, so hope everything's okay. But like, share, comment, and have a good day.
This all the time, and I know it creeps some people out. You know, if it creeps you out, I'm really sorry, but you'll have to get over it.
Also, what are you doing here?
If it was too freaky. Yeah, it's not that freaky. And we do have some like cemetery lore, cemetery things that if you want to look at, you've got enough to give me one, so don't forget.
Here, hold that.
I'll hold that too.
Or fold it up and I'll put it in my pocket, one or the other.
This is just a little thing that kind of just tells like a history here. And in Box Butte County, this is actually not the oldest cemetery. It is the biggest one. But our original cemetery started at the corner of 3rd and Flack where Carter's Hardware is. Because they never at the time planned for the town to go out that far. The main lots were, of course, where 3rd and Box Butte is, and they planned on kind of going other directions, I guess. So they buried a small amount of people there. And then when they realized, this isn't going to work, they got this land out here, and they moved those graves up here.
That would have been fun.
Yeah. Do it all. They do it all the time. We just got one moved here a couple weeks ago. We don't have a record of how many were there, but not very many. So this started out here as a private cemetery, and it was private from 1890 to 1916. And like all groups, organizations, the old people were taking care of it, and they eventually died, and there wasn't anybody that wanted to help with it. And finally, about 1916, they approached the city and said, yeah, we can't take care of this anymore. Do you want it? So they literally handed them like a shoebox full of cards that says, these are the lots we sold, but no record of who was in them.
That's fun.
And you had to buy, at that time, you had to buy 8 lots. And it was $15,
Nice.
which they're $350 a lot now.
That's
But
not
you had
bad.
to buy 8, and they were $15 for all 15, and that included perpetual care. So it's quite the deal. The catch was, they didn't care who you buried there. You want to bury your pet horse, I don't think anybody would have said, oh, don't do that. So the city took it over. They knew who the lot owners were, but they really never knew where any of the burials were. So little by little, in my last 30 years of chasing dead people, we decided that it would be fun to kind of figure this out. So between Jody and I, we had, and a few other people, and Jeff, of course, helps every year. We've walked this thing. I've walked it 3 times, beginning to end. Literally walked it. My walker doesn't work quite that well anymore, so I'm glad we do it now with a cart. But we have tried to identify each 8-lot section in these old. And a lot of times what we found is people traveling through. One experience was Henry and Maria Frank. And they were on their way to their homestead, and they came down off the train in Hay Springs, meandered down through here, and actually ended up in Oshkosh. They did kind of take the long way around. But Maria died here in Alliance. She went into early childbirth. She died. The baby died.
Oh,
The family never knew where he buried her. So they contacted
Nice guy.
us, and I started looking for Henry Frank. And lo and behold, he owned a lot out here with 8 lots, but city shows no burials. So we came out here and we witched it, and we found a woman and a boy buried in it.
wonderful.
So 100 years after her death, they came and put a stone on it.
Nice.
And they were together, I'm assuming.
They were together. Yeah, they buried her. When they would do it like in childbirth like that, they would just put the baby in the coffin with the mother and bury him. But that leaves 7 more lots in Henry Frank's lot. They have no intention. The family went to Oshkosh, stayed there 50, 60 years, and then they spread out across the country. So there are 7 lots there that technically the city could resell and may actually do it. If we can ever get a bona fide list, the city, according to state statute, can advertise those for a year, just like in a legal ad. It's a little pricey, but if they just put the lot names in there or the lot numbers, you can advertise them for a year and then they can resell them. Well, we figure just in these 7-block area, there's at least 400.
Oh, wow.
$300 a piece, that's kind of a chunk of change. So we're trying
Right?
to get it so that they can advertise those and get them for sale. Not to mention, a lot of people would like to be in
And then
the
this
older
this
section.
would prove if there's a body there. or not.
Yes, and so we wish them
Versus
to
digging
prove
them all
there's a
up.
body there. I'd like to tell you that I understand how this works, but I wasn't
Magic.
good in school. It's science. I was told by a science teacher I didn't know the difference between a cloud and a hole or a hill. So I don't know how it works, but it works. It's all done, from what I can tell, with minerals, that type of thing. But you can go online and you can just search either witching or dowsing. I put a little thing in here with a place to look. There's wonderful explanations for it. They're way too science for me. They go right over my head. I don't care. I just know that it works.
As long as it works.
Yep. And we will tell you that some people cannot do this. Some people actually can't. Jeff's wife Sherry and I went to school together, and Sherry's the one that taught me. And Jeff used to make fun of us. That's such a bunch of poppycock. He made horrible fun of us until one day he tried it. He's way better at it than she and I are. Something in his physical makeup makes it better. I've had people out here when we've been doing these little demonstrations for about the last 4 years or so, 4 or 5 years. And I have had people that literally cannot do it. They can't even make these things move.
Like the minerals in their body are
Something.
just...
Yeah, it's just
Yeah, Kim Chalker that works for us, she could not move these if she had to. And when I started doing this, we're chatting right now. When I started doing this, we used clothes hangers. And you opened it up and you bent the handle. I always felt that subconsciously, am I making it move? So Jeff came, I don't know where he figured these out. Then John makes these too. And this is the wood handle and it's not attached. So I can make it move, but I can't.
make it move.
Can't control it. That's a good way of doing it. So, and we've had it work really well on windy days. There's other times, not so much. We had a little girl that was out here with us a couple of years ago, and she came over and she said, "You have a problem." I said, "What's our problem?" She said, "There's somebody buried under the road." She was actually getting water. She was getting the water.
Yeah,
buried
dowsing's
under
also
the
for
road.
water.
So, but she did very, she was a little autistic girl, and she did phenomenally. She could just witch with the best of them. And then we had a young bunch of kids here one day, and one of them actually laid down on the ground and said, "Witch me." They couldn't make it move walking over a live body.
That's fun.
So, and it will work on bodies, and you can tell there's a body buried there. And if you pay attention, you can tell if it's a child or an adult, and you can tell if it's a man or a woman.
What about an animal?
I don't think it. Of course, I don't expect to find animals buried out here.
I'm going to do it because I have animals buried out on my property, so I need to go do it.
You need to
and
do
just
that.
See if it'll
I don't
pick 'em
expect there to be any out here, so I've never gone into an area. When you did that irrigation corner, did you find anything other than the 2 bodies?
No.
Jeff did a corner of an irrigation circle for a family that knew there were 2 children buried somewhere on the property. They thought they were in a corner. They weren't sure. He cordoned it all off and did the whole schmo. And you found them. A boy and a girl. And then I went on the census and family records and everything and finally determined exactly who they were.
Very cool.
From this, because luckily they died right around census time and in between 2 censuses. You can also do cremains. The difference is it will do cremains, but it will not tell you if it's a man or woman.
Because it can't.
It can't do that. So, and out here on your piece of paper, when they sell lots out here, like in the old days when they used to sell 8, they're not just like 8 in a row. They go 1, 2, 3, 4, back behind 5, 6, 7, 8, and some man devised this because women are always in the odd number. I think it should be the other way around. And if you're just buying 4, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you see the legal thing for it, that's what it reads. And I noticed in the Times Herald, which I don't read very often, in the real estate transfers, they used to put in if you bought a lot. They haven't done that for years. Now, again, they're doing
They're starting it again.
Yeah. So, and I don't know, there's some other things in here that, over here in section, the very first section, 1, 1, and 1, those lots were set apart when they did this for veterans. And so veterans that didn't have families, veterans that didn't have anybody to bury them, the American Legion and the War Dads and the VFW kind of took care of that and made sure they got a place buried. Once that filled up, there's a couple other sections out here. And now that the Veterans Cemetery is here, most of them go there. It's out on the way to the airport. When you come, you you're going along and then you kind of go down a hill and around a curve. It's right there.
We discovered that by accident.
Yeah.
We didn't know it was like a
And,
Tojo
you know,
by
it's kind of an interesting thing. If I watched it be built, I'm kind of fascinated. There's room for 4,000 burials, I think.
Wow.
4,000. But the holes are already dug. What they did is they came in and they dug that ground down 8 foot. And they put these box compartments in there. It looked like railroad boxes, but they're just 4 by 6, or they're big enough to put a coffin in. And they put one down, then they put like a door divisionary thing, then they put another one on top of it. And then you don't get to pick where you want to be. You don't want to say, oh, I'm going to be over in that corner. They bury you as you die. So 1, 2, 3, 4. But say it's a couple and they're going to be buried there. If the wife dies first, she goes to the bottom box. If the husband dies first, bottom box. When the next one dies, they open that up. They put that coffin on top.
So it's layered.
They're layered. They're on top of each other.
The cremains are layered also.
Yeah, the cremains are the same way. They're smaller pieces and they're layered. So I found that kind of interesting.
Yeah.
There's also a small section over there. You have to be either a veteran or the spouse of a veteran. But for people who may have a say a handicapped child that lives with them their entire adult life or whatever, they are also can be buried there. There's a small section for dependents that can be there. But that is all set up a hand. So they'll bury people there until that is full before they try to enlarge it. Which I kind of found interesting. If you watch the apartment building out by Baumgarsby built, it's kind of the same idea. They brought in boxes. Those apartments are just gigantic boxes that they stack. It's like a Lego apartment. They just stack them up.
Are there any stacked burials out here?
Yes and no. In cremains, yes, there's some. I lost a grandchild in 1997, and my children were fairly young.
Welcome to the Alliance Cemetery
And I was
Directory.
working
Please
for the
tap
city.
anywhere on
Well,
the
I
screen
wasn't
to
quite, but
continue.
the other grandma was working for the city. So we actually went down to kind of see where to put this baby. And I said, well, we could always bury him on top of my dad. And we did. They let us do that. So we put his little coffin on top of my dad, and they let us put a stone next to it, which was very nice. But not so much, especially with coffins, they just do that.
Okay.
Now you have
Tell
to
them what you're doing.
Huh?
Tell them what your apartment building.
Yeah, I bought some lots, and I've discovered that I don't think I got so much a lot. I think I'm getting an apartment building. I discovered that there are some cool stones, some new stones that are out on the market, and we'll walk over if anybody wants to, because there is one right close to here. And the stones are unique because the urns go inside the stone,
Oh.
which is kind of neat, actually. And I was helping Joe Lewis get one for Dee, and I got to looking, and man, they make them that you can put 4 people. You know, you can do a multiple family in there if you want to or whatever. So I bought 2 lots close to my parents, and I'm looking at one of those stones for down the road. I'm certainly in no hurry to die because I got lots of things to do. But I plan on my husband and I and my daughter and a child she lost being in my lot. Well, I'm such a cheapskate if you know me at all. And then I got to thinking, hey, I still got the land. So I asked my boys and their wives, I said, so you interested in being part of the family?
Might as well.
One daughter-in-law freaked out. The other 3 said, sure, we don't care. And we can bury 2 of them in each one of them and put something on the back of the big stone for them. So
Welcome to the
they
Alliance
tell me at work
Cemetery
I didn't get a
Directory.
lot. I
Please
got an
tap
apartment
anywhere on the
building.
Right? Works for me.
So, and luckily I was able to buy them from some people that weren't going to use them. These lots out here that I tell you that there are multiples that don't have people in them. If they advertise them and no one comes forth and says, or if we can research and tell people that there are no surviving members to that family, they might not have to advertise them. And I'm helping some people over here try to clear out 8 lots. That I'm just, in fact, we'll witch those today. We'll witch 8 empty ones. See if there's
And today
anybody in
you
there.
have to buy them in sets of 4 or 8.
No, 2.
No, 2.
2 is the smallest number you can buy. But
Unless you're over in the cremains.
in the
You can get
cremain
1.
section, which is the small triangles out in the new part, you can do just one. And there's the back area, but the back area is almost full, and that's also sold as needed. They don't just hopscotch around. In a perfect world, I'd be a millionaire and I'd mark every grave out here that's not marked, but that's probably not going to happen. The Hempel family added this kiosk not too long ago, and it is very handy. It kind of has a mind of its own. If you've not used it, do try. And the city updates it a couple of times a year, and they try to keep the new ones in there. And as a family member, if you want to say, oh, well, I want to put Daddy's whole obituary on here, and it's 4 pages long, and I'd like a nice picture of him, you can do that. They charge you, but you can do that. So you can put anything you want on there.
And you guys do that at the museum?
No, actually the city does that.
Okay.
But there's a computer system in there that does it, and it's all computerized. And it isn't hard to use, but it does have a mind of its own.
Welcome to the
They
Alliance
had to
Cemetery Directory.
see, it
Please
talks.
tap anywhere on
It heard me talking about it, so it started talking. The catch for out here, if you are looking for a grave, if you can look, let's see how there's, oh, I can't put my eye on one, maybe behind Jody's car here, there's a fence post.
Yeah, there's one right behind my car.
And it says that these lots going north here are section 1, block 2. Block 1. I was getting mixed up. So that means there are 4 rows that are part of that. So the number counting starts at the north end with the signs at the south end. So you have to find the sign on the south and then walk to the north and count them out in
That makes sense.
in groups of 8 out here. Over there you can do 4, and in the new section you can do 2. It's kind of a pain. And if you do, if you're out here during the Memorial Day weekend and you see us running around on little carts and you think, oh, how disrespectful, they're driving right over the graves. No, we're not. In between, see those 4 rows over there? See, there's an alleyway between them so that they can drive on them and not drive on the graves. Because I will tell you, this is the older section. They have done some driving out here because they had to do things like take down a tree that fell and that kind of stuff. Remember that out here, everybody's buried in a wood coffin. 100 years ago. That wood does not hold up well. They've had some cave-ins, some collapsing, that kind of stuff. They've also had people come in here and want to remove a loved one and take them to another cemetery, take them to the military cemetery, and they will do that. They charge for it, but they will do that. If you live in the country and want your own cemetery, John has one off of his feedlot, but I don't think you plan on being buried there. But there is a family not too long ago out on East 10th Street here that started their own cemetery. They moved their daughter from here out there, and now that both the parents have passed away, and they've got their very own cemetery. You have to deed, I think it's 4 acres of ground. You have to deed 4 acres of ground. You have to have a cemetery board, and they have to meet once a year.
Oh, wow.
So it's all their family, and they all plan on being buried there eventually. So eventually that cemetery will close because Wilbur. Eventually there'll be nobody out there to bury them. So, and nobody to have a yearly meeting. But you have to fence around it. There's a lot of rules to it, but people do it. We have 13 country cemeteries around here. The smallest one has one woman and her baby, and then the 2 kids he found out by the airport. Or some of them have, like, I think Evergreen has 200 and some. So they go everywhere from 1 to like 200, 250. Lawn Church has
Fairview
quite a
has
few.
91.
They have 91.
So I'm working on it.
And there are people that help take care of
What do I
those,
know?
which of course we appreciate.
What do I
And there
know?
are still people being buried. Fairview gets a burial, at least one a
Yeah.
year. Evergreen gets, they haven't had any for a while, but they usually used to get 1 or 2 a year. And if you drive by the Lee Tan Cemetery down south of the Dinklage feedlot, they had a burial within the last 5 years, and nobody's been buried in there in the last
Welcome to the Alliance Cemetery
100,
Directory.
I'm
Please tap
guessing,
anywhere
since
on
at
the
least
screen to continue.
1920 probably. So,
I know of a place where a wagon was, family died of diphtheria, and they just hauled the wagon out, dug a hole, buried the whole wagon. Now the tires are starting to steal.
That's kind of cool, though.
To show up.
wow. And of course it's not marked.
Yeah, no. Should someone do something about it or just let it be?
Is it in Box County?
Yeah, I think it is.
Bring me the
I was
legal.
going to say we might want to go check
We
it
might
out.
want to play with that one. We just recently, a man from Rapid City bought some ground out east of the 16-mile corner, and he bought it with no intention to live there. He's going to use it for hunting. And he found up on a hill something that suspiciously looked to him like a grave. Somebody fenced a small area and put some markers, but not markers necessarily in it. So he called, and Jody and I went out, and the thing was a solid patch of cactuses. Nasty little cactuses. And I had on
That happens a lot.
Yeah, those little that stick to everything. So we went out, and we pretty much determined that it is a baby boy. And
It was a small spot.
yeah,
We found it.
we will never know. You'll never know who it is because it was probably somebody traveling through. After the railroad came, they did go as far as Hay Springs, and then they'd work their way on down. But we'll never know who it is, but he is going to put a fence around it, and he's going to put a marker there, and
They blessed the ground and
Yeah.
everything. They're all into it.
they did what they could. And some we'll never find, but you never know. We found weirder things. And now that we do have the newspapers we can go through, we have all the Alliance newspapers, and they're on film, they're on the internet, it's a paid service, but they're word searchable. That's what I did when you asked the other day. I looked up yuck out or all the spellings of it, and I found them under every spelling, but it's interesting what you can find. Obituaries back
Interesting.
then were either this long and very immortal, or they were one sign, John Smith died Tuesday. Okie dokie. So, and
Poor
we
John.
found one. We actually found a great one. It was for a lady of the evening, and she had a very long obituary, which would have easily been anybody's Sunday sermon, because it was all about the evils of demon rum and how it led her astray. But then we also
Somebody had
found-
feelings.
we also found out here that she was buried with a collection taken up by some local businessmen. So,
Well, at least they thought well of her.
very well of her. So let's go witch some people, and then if anybody wants to watch over or walk over and look at this unusual new tombstone, we'll do that. And Janice, I see you just popped over. I want to witch those empty graves that we've talked about. Yep. Oh, I know where they're at. We'll go look at them.
Hold this a second.
I hold this.
Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, why do I have a feeling you're going to be good at this?
It's either that or it's going to go completely numb on me because me and electricity.
That's true. I can see you breaking it too.
The
What happened? He broke it. How'd he break it? Well,
handle's caught on fire. Oh crap.
you see.
One of the things that we love out here, because the cemetery is old, is we love the variety of stones. There's a lot of internet information you can find out what this stuff means. This obviously was put up by her children. Our mother, Elizabeth Dismer, born in 1832, died in 1901. The vines mean she was educated and intelligent. The bird, the dove, I can't remember what it means, but I think the cross log means that she had a family. All this stuff has meaning.
I remember seeing that.
If you find a log that's cut off, it's shorter. He was cut down in the prime of his life.
Oh, wow.
And if it has an anchor, which Mr. Hubble down there in that really cool one, it's on down. See where the flag is? Yeah, it's a real tall one. His is very expressive. He has an anchor, but he was in the military, but he wasn't in the Navy. But he's got a lot of things on there that mean a lot of different things. This is another one that says this person was educated, because it's got a book. The dove, faithful. I mean, everything has a meaning on those. I gave a program at St. Agnes one year for a bunch of fourth graders, and we were talking about cemeteries, and I said, have you ever been to the cemetery? And every kid had. And I said, when you see the small stones that have a little lamb on them, that's always a baby. Every kid in the room raised their hand. I've dealt with kids. I was not walking into that landmine. So I picked a little girl I totally trusted, and I said, I'm only got room for one question. What's your question? And she goes, my aunt had a baby and it died in her tummy. And I said, oh, that's too bad. Okay, now. And she goes, how do you suppose they got it out?
Oh no.
We are not going into this. I'm just saying. So, okay, Jeff, what do you want to do? You want to do a north-south?
that you want to.
Well, we can do these. I do have some empty ones I want to do too. But let's do one that's got a people's in it.
A people's?
A people's.
People in it. Okay, anyway, these rods, I make these rods. These are file handles. This is number 4 copper wire. I get it at Bernie's. It's on a spool, and it takes me a long time to get them straight.
And we bend them as we get
And they spin, so you're not manipulating them at all. When you approach a grave, or you think there's a grave, you basically hold them out, elbows to your side, pretty much level, and you just shuffle along really, really slow.
And they're not doing anything. Uh-oh.
And as I get right here, should be right here.
You want to keep going past Elizabeth
Yeah,
there?
we can do that.
What does the X mean when they cross?
There's a
something's
grave
there.
there.
But it doesn't tell you male or
It
female.
will.
We will.
Wait, we'll get
We'll get to that.
Way to jump ahead.
Don't
Yeah.
ask me, here again, don't ask me how this works, but it has different things for north and south and east and west.
Now, last year I've been doing it incorrectly. When I'd come across one here, then I'd step forward because I figured casket's this wide, so I'd step forward and work, and there was supposed to be a man and a woman here. Well, I was going too far, so
You go
I
back.
stopped right here on top of this grave, and I'd start forward, and I wouldn't get very far, and they would cross. So there was one buried really close. So we've been changing our method there, yeah.
And keep in mind, this is science and not exact science.
Yeah, not exact science. We don't know. I've got books, old books, late 1800 books about dowsing, and it doesn't tell you. They don't know. They're just guessing.
So either Elizabeth doesn't show,
Oh,
or she's sideways, and they didn't necessarily put her in the right place.
There's probably one here. That's my guess.
Are they always behind the stone instead of
They are in this cemetery, and I think most of the time, I forgot to tell you this, cemeteries that are set up geared towards Christianity, people are buried east to west because you should rise to see the sun rise. So that's what they do. My daughter-in-law, her father was trucking down in Kansas, and he called me one day and he goes, what's this thing about east and west? Because I'm just going by a cemetery and they are going every which way. And I said, where are you? And he said, Kansas. And I said, Jewell County. And he goes, I don't know, where's Jewell County? I said, Burr Oak. And he said, that's where I'm at. Okay, they're Mennonite and Quaker, and that doesn't follow the same thing, so they can bury them every which, however they want to. And if you go to the military cemetery, they are not all east and west because that is a non-denominational cemetery because you can be in the military and be Buddhist or Hindu or worship green frogs, it doesn't matter. So I just took this out of here.
Well, there's one here we know.
Well, you witch that one, I'll witch this one.
Okay. All right. Show you if this is a man or a woman. Okay. You only use one rod. You hold it out. Shuffle along.
You only use one, I use two.
Okay. This is a woman.
But you notice mine didn't cross until I got clear
It
up
might be a
here.
child.
So it's probably a child. If it didn't go way back like you figure a 6-foot body. And keep in mind, they didn't necessarily do it straight or anything else, but yeah. And
Guess what? Phone with
I
the
can't make it not go there.
And
So,
Jeff will, the way I've learned this things to you, because the cross-legged hand to heart is a mom, for mom, so it's a woman. Like she's using two, they'll cross. Jeff uses one, it'll cross over. If it's a male,
Goes
it'll go
this
out.
way.
Male, it goes off to the side.
And I describe it. Have
Interesting.
you ever seen a guy sit in a chair? This is how
Yeah.
it sits. That's how I remember it. Mother, kind and man.
He's dominating the space. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
But let's go over and look at some empty ones over here. Probably shouldn't later. I'll have to pick it up later. Dan, if you want it. Jeff's got a story.
I got a story.
More.
Well, everybody gets over here. This is a pretty good story. It's too bad my wife's not here. She has a little bit of information on it. For the last 3-4 years, I come out here for 3 days with Jody and Becky, and we watch people. They're walking around and they're trying to find a grave, and so we run over and we got the book. We help them. And there was a guy standing over at the kiosk, and I saw him, and I boogied over there, and he was one of the Cusick boys, and he's one that I didn't know who he was. And I got to talking about him, and he said, Connie Ackerman told me that there was a hollow stone in the cemetery that they used back in Prohibition days to stash beer or booze or whatever. And the person would know that your jug is there, and so they'd come out in the night and they'd take the jug and put the money in there and close it back up again, and this went on. And I told my wife about it, and she said, you know, when I was in high school, my grandpa and her dad, Freddie Coleman, and I think maybe a couple of Freddie's brothers, they were up and they were drinking, and they were drunk as hell, and they got to talking about prohibition and hideouts for beer, and Sherry's grandpa said, yeah, there's a hidey spot out in the Alliance Cemetery, and there's also one in the Catholic cemetery. And so the Cusick boy, Connie told him it was this one. Now this is zinc, and it's hollow. It's hollow. So we surmise that with these
Interesting.
little acorns here, those are bolts. And what
And
they
they're
do is,
petrified.
yeah, they would unscrew them and put the jug in there, and I just tried to unloosen them, and they're corroded up. Now there's one just like this in the Deadwood Cemetery, and we were up there, my wife and I up there last year, and one of the nuts is gone and it's threaded in there, so we're really certain that's the deal. And why those are there, if the family could get a new plaque and change the verse on there, they could change them out. But
It's really empty.
but
all the
we
way up.
think there's probably either a ton of old money in there or a jug,
That would be so cool.
and that would be something that'd be a treasure for the museum.
Right?
Anyway, that's
So that's kind of a fun story you've never heard
a fun
before.
story.
Have you talked to Captain WD-40 about that?
That's zinc, and
You know,
it's,
this guy, we do have the information on him. He was a real prominent, I think he ran a grocery store, but he may have at one time run a saloon too. I'm trying to remember. It was Richard, or is this one?
It's only 10 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kid.
Oh, then but the Watkins is the dad. Yeah, that ran it. I think he ran the grocery store, and I think this is his son. I'm guessing this wasn't set up necessarily by the family. It was set up by
What?
others with, nothing to do and saw something empty they could use. But I thought that was kind of a cool story and fun. And you will notice when you're out here, a lot, especially these big, they're called obelisk stones, and they'll have writing on one side, but always check the other sides, because sometimes there are 4 people buried in a row, but they put their names on one big stone. So that's kind of fun. But this one has been very corroded, because there's little things in here that would rip your finger off.
Yeah,
We-
there's some sharp edges.
Sherry and I, last year we were up at Hewitt, Wyoming, and we went to the cemetery up there, and they had an obelisk, and it wasn't 4-sided. It was 6 or 8-sided, but they had a grave here and a grave here, all the way in it like a wagon wheel spoke,
Oh, they
all
have-
around.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Must not have been Christian.
I was looking at some stones over here next to my grandparents, from where that flag is, kind of back behind there. And there's the tall obelisk over there, and it has a man on one side, and it has his son on the other. No other family ever lived here. That I believe he deserted his wife in Omaha, but so I never found anybody else. So I went to the city and I tried to buy at least 6 of those lots. And then we started witching them, and I came out and witched them. Ooh, yeah, I don't need them. There's 8 guys buried there.
Oh, wow.
He had a big ranch south of town, and what I think he did is he had a lot of hired men that came out here after the Civil War because they had nowhere to go and no families, and he hired them. Well, then when they died, he would just bury them, and he owned a plot for 8, so I think he just filled it up with guys, because he felt bad, but not bad enough to get him a tombstone.
Fun.
So let's go look at these. I guess we want to look right here. Actually, right here, right where you're standing and here.
Ooh.
There should be 8 lots in here. So,
Okay, Sticks, let's go.
so I don't know, Jeff, you want to go?
Are there some on this side?
I think there should be 4 over here and 4 where Janice is standing.
The ones I'm interested in would be here.
Yeah, closer to
Those
there.
2.
We'll find them all.
Okay.
According to the book, there's no one here.
We'll find out.
Somebody here. There's one of those little lamb stones.
Mm-hmm.
Their little
When
heads
it's missing its land.
fall off. Yeah, all the heads fall off of them.
Well, you're going to be by Charles.
Charlie's there.
You got company.
And it does help to do the old man shuffle.
Yeah.
Offense, Jeff.
Okay, I'm there already.
Well, I'm using 2.
Are they on top of
He
each other?
resembles that remark.
There's a mole out there.
Although I did get a new knee 2 months ago. That might screw things up.
Yeah, it might.
No. Oh. Yeah, do you want to try them? Stand here and walk down to where that stone is. Go north and south, and then if he finds anybody, we'll see who it is.
Well, I don't think so.
They're awfully wiggly. Well, there's...
I hold mine kind of down. I don't go straight up.
Yeah, I don't do them
tip
straight
the
up.
front
I
down.
point them down.
That's my.
Oh, you do? I do them this way.
There you go.
Well, you got Gladys. Yep. We know she's there.
Yep.
Pretty sure.
There's
You
nothing
can pay
there.
me later. Coffee's works.
Yeah.
So we're pretty
Yeah.
sure these are empty.
Okay, so when you say you Amanda's have to getting buy one right 2.
Yeah, but she's getting a little bit one right there.
That is so weird.
I would sit in front of somebody or on somebody.
Do you ever hold them both in one hand?
No, I've never tried that.
I haven't either.
And I have a copper and I have.
Oh, wow.
He's trying all kinds of things. Okay, keep going. We'll see if we can find any others.
Now they,
Who did we
The big
determine
short ones,
Janice owned these
you
lots?
can
Baxter.
kill
Oh,
a
yeah.
section of chicken.
I wonder if
Oh,
it's allowed to.
pointing to the guy behind you.
It doesn't show.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they didn't show having any children
You're probably getting
that were buried here. Would be those 2. So we don't think there's anybody there.
There might be
We
some
tell them we
here.
witched them. Okay.
I got one here.
You could use them, but you don't have to.
And one here. So let's
Try them.
get back where Jody is, or I mean, get back at level with her and turn around and go that way.
Old man shuffle that way.
To just,
Whatever, it's right here.
Yeah, I apparently sat in front of somebody. Or on somebody, depending.
shouldn't be picking up you because, you are breathing.
Are you sure? No, just kidding.
I'd say it's a child.
Did you make
A
those?
little
That
girl.
That
is
is
a child
Those are the exact same spot. Like telescope.
So a little girl.
So it would be directly underneath?
So there's no way to. Did you see
that's
these,
a
Jody?
little girl right
I
there,
saw
that
them.
one, where that headstone is.
Yeah, so they
Should pivot.
they pivot.
Her baby.
Jody also has, do you have it with you? Jody also uses a prism,
Pendulum.
a pendulum.
Pendulum.
Yeah,
Copper
sorry,
pendulum.
Yeah, I got one too. Use that. This is the first time I've really used the rods.
The pendulum works. It responds better to me. Like Jeff, the rods really, really work for him. Mine do, but not as drastic as his do. But the pendulum for me, I can go above a grave and tell you if it's male or female.
Do one of those
By the
down
way,
there.
it's Wade.
You know how they did it, like, see if you're having a boy or a girl over your belt. It's the same thing.
Same concept. And that does not work for me at all.
Sure, I can't make it work either.
There it goes, a circle.
So I just don't have the patience for that.
Girl. Yeah.
What's in here?
Go north and south.
Straight line. So Delaney, last year when we were out here, she was that last year or year before?
2 years.
2 years ago, she was pregnant, and she was just early in her pregnancy. So I'm like, well, let's try it on your wrist. While everybody was doing this stuff, we were over there messing around because not everybody knew she was pregnant, and she'd had 3 girls. And I'm like, okay, let's see what this one is. Boom, it came up as a boy. We were all excited. Sure enough, little boy, little Jensen's with us now. Yeah.
So she's coming up with one here.
Oh, really?
So
Like right.
Mama.
where you're
Yep.
standing.
Yep.
full correction. And this is the two.
I found Mama's grave, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be just like me?
I tried to buy you some luck with. I took care of the soldiers over there, so.
Yeah, I saw them.
Yeah.
Just figures that I would choose the place to sit that belongs to somebody else. I could have sat anywhere.
Anywhere, you know.
I wanted to see if I did it barehanded
Yours are just like crazy. They just don't know what they want to do.
Got it both directions.
I'm tempted to buy some. I just don't know if I have the patience.
You'll have me walk with it while you
Well, she
videotape,
really
right?
Like,
Yeah.
try 'em
I
and
put
make
mine
sure they
down.
work for you because it's not.
I'm afraid he'll break it.
You can't break
Does anybody want to try?
No, see, and now you're gonna jinx it.
There you go.
Which way you want me to go?
I don't care.
Which way do you want to go?
Calling.
I can tell you right now.
Probably
I'm
where
gonna
you're
lean on
right over here.
The brass ones go the other direction?
I don't have.
Okay. Oh, it just moved on you.
So that'll be 2 side by side.
Oh, it's crossed over. So you think there's a body there? That's
He,
in the
yeah,
middle of the alley.
he hasn't even moved.
That's in the middle of
That
the alley.
that was fun. It's going. Look at that. It's just going everywhere.
So does this creep you guys out?
Oh no.
You kids?
He actually,
I
this year.
you broke you see I was just you just broke it. See, I told you were gonna break it.
Where's that big haunted house you were talking about? We were looking it up on YouTube.
Oh, funny.
She's Winchester Mansion.
That's on my wish list. I'd love to go there.
There's nobody in the alley.
Cheyenne, Winters.
No, I'm not sure of anything.
Well,
That hasn't
Wait.
got-
maybe right here.
In Alliance?
Probably not out here. Now there's probably a water line right here.
That's a great big 3-story.
Yeah, you could be picking up water, baby.
Could be. That could be.
You're in the alley, so you shouldn't
Yeah.
be letting anybody out there.
1, 2, 3. So yeah.
There's somebody here.
And you can pick up sewer lines too.
Oh, that's the guy. That's the guy. Okay. But he only used one of them.
Try walking towards me, or go that way.
Both directions. Am I broken?
You have weird chemicals.
Just want to touch the wood. Now when you do it, there you go. You want to keep them nice and level like that. Get them done just a little bit like that. All
Well,
right,
there,
let's,
you picked up one a little bit earlier than they did, but you still got it.
over here and we'll do
Charlie Brown.
You know the shuffle. That's all they do.
Would you like to try?
Just gotta shuffle.
You want to try?
Certainly may.
Not right now. You want to watch a little bit more?
Well, that one spot the lady hit went off on mine too. So
I mean, in the space.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
locals.
it wasn't in the river as it is, but
If it's a girl, what is it? I don't know. She does that. I'm not very good at that. Can I try your
Tell
Yeah, she wants to try to find out. So what is
you
it?
ever
What
figure
is
out
the
the
movements mean now? The circle?
Let it, it'll kind of wiggle when you first put it down and let it settle. in a circle. You know, it does it straight.
But do you remember when you and I were going through your list? There was these two soldiers, but then there was another one that I kept coming up with.
And it picked up every single one.
So is Maud on this
Actually,
side?
she had a miscarriage, and then she
Well,
had 2 girls,
okay, but
and
look,
then Jensen.
there should be 4
And it
burials
picks up
here.
the
Yes.
miscarriage.
Yep, there it goes. There's the river. Now straighten it out once you get past the river.
Stones over there, and then Journey, and Jensen.
That makes sense because you're at the foot of that one right there.
I don't think
So right between the two headstones.
Like I say, just because the stone's there doesn't mean the body is.
Oh yeah.
Because what fun would that be?
The stone could have been there, 30 years after.
I've looked at those a few times. They're not super expensive.
Yeah. Well, you can go online and find some that collapse like these too. They fold up like a ballpoint pen.
Yeah, I saw those, except for yours seem to be going quite cray. They're just going everywhere.
Like they were saying, is it like, for example, where...
Although it'd probably make it easier for me to store them in my purse if they collapse, so I might look into that.
well, and some people couldn't afford a stone
yeah, the
when someone
critical
died, so they might come in and put it in years later.
It'll tell you what, like on it works.
See, we went down to cemeteries all over West and it's some of the places, it's both educational, it's also kind of sad, because there was the one up there by a place called Billsburg, little tiny cemetery, and we ran into a grave which was there too, and he said, yeah, the hardest part he had is one time a lady
trees in our greenhouse.
gave birth, baby lasted a week, and she just walked in and there it was. And he was out there.
You see people on TV do this.
Had those.
Lines.
We found a lot of odd things out here. Just a lot of odd things. We have 3 sets of triplets, and they all died at the same time, and 2 of them died in epidemics.
Wow.
Am I gonna do it on? No, I guess I could do it online.
I've seen 5.
Just tell me.
Kind of terrifying. Diphtheria, all those other fun things.
I think you can ask for 4 and 5 of that section. Sorry, 5 and 6. We want 5 and 6.
You may have to pick up a pair of those.
You want the collapsible kind, which fits in my purse, or you want one of the bigger kind?
I'd get the big set.
Yeah, the collapsible ones kind of seem to be cray-cray.
Yeah.
They were going everywhere.
Yeah,
They couldn't seem to make up.
Helicoptering.
They couldn't seem to make up their mind. Also, I wonder if the spirits were kind of playing with you as well. It's like
I know they were.
I give you misreadings.
Yeah. Well, that's why I went over there and gave them a small donation, because...
That was before you did the dowsing rods, dear.
Oh, that too. There they go.
Your mom's got it.
Walk too fast. You gotta walk really slow.
Your turn.
Try it.
What about the other side?
Time.
2:48.
Okay. Did you use the bathroom still?
I do, but I'm all right. It's one of those. My eyes are turning yellow.
No, your mom has it.
I think you went too fast.
It does help if you go slower.
Yeah, you have to go really slow.
Anybody else?
Red Cloud up at Pine Ridge has an aluminum tube. And I'm wondering what's in there.
That is one of the most beautiful cemeteries I've ever been in where he's at. But if you go across the road to cemetery 2 and 3, those are the most depressing things I've ever seen. By the time you get to 3, it's horrible. And here again, they just bury him. They go out and dig a hole. They don't care what it faces. They don't care anything. It is the most depressing. I'll bet there's nobody in there over 40. Horrible. Horrible place.
Have you been up to Wounded Knee?
Yeah. And they buried him right where they fell out on the prairie.
Oh, they didn't mass grave them?
No, if you fell right here, they dug a hole there. Yeah, I was just up there a couple years ago.
I was gonna say you just went for that one.
Yeah.
Now up at Custer Battlefield, the soldiers, they buried them where they. Yeah, you'll see stones out along there, although they're not there now. But they put the stones up there originally, and from what they told us that they.
Just spangled everywhere.
They dug them up and moved them.
Do you know anything about the Gettysburg battles?
No.
Does anybody want to walk over and see one of these new cremains tombstones?
Yeah.
Because I'm anxious
I do,
to
because I
see
need a
this.
picture of it anyway.
My wife will be interested. She's gonna bury her dog.
I had a friend that doused the battlefield at a bighorn, and he determined that it started at noon and it ended at 12:30.
Yeah. It was a running battle.
Because it was, he picked up the leaves.
Oh, no.
He was able to get in on it.
Oh.
And it was documented by a survivor. Oh, this is 15 and 20. This was
Some of these stones are done. I don't know what procedure they use, but look at this. All the writing is crusted off of it. We know who's there, but it just.
that would have been really pretty.
And in case anybody ever asks you and tells you, tombstones are so expensive, which they are. Do you know you can buy a tombstone on Amazon?
Buy everything on Amazon.
I know, and we have some out here. They're not that bad. You have to have a certified carpenter install it out here, but you can do it. Or you can get a plaque and put on the back. Say you had grandparents here and you wanted to add an uncle. You could get a plaque and you can glue it to the back of that stone, and nobody cares. So it's a good way for people who cremated and sprinkled in the room.
Did you ever No. No. I just haven't yet. Like to do it. I mean, I've been there myself. Oh, have you? You've been to the battlefield? Yes. No, I think that would be real interesting. I like it, no matter what. But just to be able to douse that and make sure that when that'll happen.
I think this is incredibly cool. This is the first one over in this new older part.
So there's 2 niches.
These are doors, but once they put Harold's ashes in here, there's some sort of, I don't know what, a button, a key inside. Once you shut it, it's not going anywhere. And then there's a way to unlock it. Marge is still alive, obviously. And they'll be able to raise it and put her ashes in there. Isn't that the coolest thing?
Kind of cool.
But if you go, not the first row, but the second row, you go all the way to the end. On this side of the long skinny section, there's one for Joe and Dee Lewis. Looks kind of similar to this, but a little different. But if you look across the road, there's a black bench that's got a thin leg and a thick leg. Steve Mannion's ashes are in the thick leg.
Oh my.
You can also get them that look like a tree stump, and before they install them, they'll put your ashes up inside, and then they glue them down, and it's never going anywhere. So they've come out with millions of designs for these. They're really cool. They're no more expensive than any of the others. The only catch for us as genealogists is they didn't have to call the city and tell them they were burying Harold here, because they already owned it. Was a family lot. So we've got to come up with a way so people will say we're doing an above ground burial, because otherwise the city and their records, they have no record of him being buried here. So we've got to come up with a way, and I think we'll probably go through the funeral homes, so they'll just notify the city or the mortuary place, because most stones here come from either Herstead's in Scottsbluff or Palmer in Broken Bow.
Just going to bury above ground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. I mean, you can a coffin, obviously, but yeah, ashes. And for people like Dee Lewis, dear friend of all of ours, but he didn't bury her for like a year and a half, and I kept saying, what are you waiting for? And he said she had it, just like somebody's afraid of snakes, like deathly, she was afraid of underground. That was her thing, that claustrophobia feeling. And I said, well, get her an above ground one. So we looked, that's how I got so interested in these, was looking on the internet with Joe. I just Google searched cremains, above ground tombstones. Zillions of them. But I think this is incredibly cool. And there's lots of different styles, of course, and some look like trees, and there was everything under the sun. But there is the bench over there that's cool to look at. And we've had a couple of them put out here in section 18, the newer section over there, that for people who aren't deceased yet. They're still living, but they've already ordered their stones. So
Isn't Mr. Martin Daryl?
no, his kids put a box over the top of his.
You could bury 4 people in a lot.
In a double lot, yes.
Oh, you have to have a double lot.
Well,
Do you have a post hole digger?
yeah, you know, I'm a city employee, but don't tell anybody I said this. But yeah, I worked with Roy Swanson. He wanted to be buried in the Lattan Cemetery, and he said, "How will I go about this? Do I have to go through the mortuary?" I said, "Your kids are farmers. Don't they have a post hole digger?" So the kids went out, dug a hole with a post hole digger, and dropped the urn in there, and got him a stone, and everybody's happy. So
I know that happens with some of the native ones that I don't get burials for.
when
I
it
don't
hits
hear
the
all of a
bottom,
sudden.
When they hit the bottom, plunk,
plunk,
and I wondered if Roy
plunk to the
on
bottom.
his way out.
He was adamant he was going to be there, and that cemetery doesn't have tons of records, and most of the people are buried to the east. So he said, well, what if I just go to the west end? I said, you know, you pick the west end, you can be anywhere you want to be. So that's what he did. But we still get people buried in the country. Not a lot, but every once in a while. So does anybody have any questions or want to play some more or whatever?
To answer your question, Steve, we do have a book of the Wynell.
Yeah, we do.
1 page in it.
And you know, she died
She has
before
it.
there was newspapers, but when he died,
It mentioned
after,
her.
yeah, it had a whole paragraph about her and the baby dying, so technically she got an obituary. And I think that's the ground that Doug Hashman farms.
I think they've got it now.
Oh, yeah, Doug Hashman farms that corner.
Oh, that's the one, the single
The
out
Wynell.
west.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was out by the
I
box
couldn't
car.
remember the name on it.
Yeah.
but-
And also, and it's got a nice stone. Somebody put it in the 30s or 40s. If you are looking for people, family members buried, if this is something that appeals to you, you can always come to the museum. We have, like I said, 18,000 pages for people that are buried around the county. And we go all the way to Highway 2. I have them clear to Whitman. I had to stop myself or I'd be at Grand Island. But one thing you can do is go to Find a Grave. It is the best resource on the internet. It's just findagrave.com. Anybody can look on it. It's free. And you can find stuff and anymore. Like we have a little gal, Christy Kuhnel from Shadron. She comes down and she'll take pictures of the new ones. And if a family member, like if they hadn't put this on themselves on Find a Grave, Christy will have it on there in a few months. If you are a family member, you can go on there and say, these are my parents, I would like to be in charge of this. So you can add pictures or stories or whatever you want.
I did that with her for my dad's at the vet cemetery. She had it first. I said, this is my dad. Can I take ownership of it? She's like, absolutely.
So
she's great.
Find a Grave is a great way. I've found burials going clear back to, 1600s in the East Coast. There are people out there that literally have taken hundreds of thousands of pictures and entered that information. And now that the newspapers are available online so much, they'll go in and add the obituaries to them. You can find a lot on there. So if that's something you're interested in, if you're doing your own family history, just go to Find a Grave. You'd be floored what you can find. So any other questions or anything? Well, I hope you had fun. This is our vacation. We're really cheap dates at the museum. It doesn't take much to make us happy. This and Dairy Queen a couple times this weekend and we'll be fine. But this is here, trivia. You ever get asked a trivia question and you're going to know it, nobody else is? There's more people out here than there is in Alliance.
Always.
We're about 300 more than there is in town because we're about 8,400 in town, and I think we're 87, 8,800 out here now.
Wow.
More people out here. Good trivia thing. But we have a lot of people that come out here to walk because it's peaceful. You don't have to be dodging cars going everywhere, and And if you find a grave that you're fascinated by or interested in, come in and we'll help you figure out who it is.
I worked out here for 2 summers. It's a summer job.
Yep.
Mowing or trimming.
Mowing and trimming.
Haunting stories?
Oh yeah, there's a few. Here's one of my favorite stories. It's not that old, and some of you are going to know who she was. Does anybody remember? It's going to be you guys. Kay Paris. You know, dearly loved Kay. I grew up with her. Her parents were my babysitters. She ran the local bar. Kay was a character. Nobody can ever dispute that. She was who she was, and take it or leave it. Kay had the misfortune of losing both of her boys before she passed. So she would like to come visit the boys. And it was hard for her to stand around, so she'd just do what she's doing. She'd park herself right in front of the boys, and she just talked to them for hours. She said, we had the best visits.
Yeah,
And
they couldn't
one
talk
night
back.
It was starting to get a little dusk out. And she said, you know, a bunch of kids pulled in. And she said, they weren't that far away from me, and they lifted the trunk. And one said, okay, I got the beer. Who wants one? And everybody said, oh, I want one. It's so hot out, I want a cold beer. And she thought, you know, a cold beer sounds good. And she was sitting on the ground. She said, yoo-hoo, yoo-hoo. I'd like a beer. Well, they couldn't see her.
Oh
Why, they spread gravel all over the place. She said, I thought the least they could do was share a beer with me. It's a possibility that they couldn't see you. And she goes, oh, I never thought of that. So she's our ghost who wasn't a
There
ghost.
may be that story
Yeah,
out
there
there.
may be that story.
That's funny.
So that and the Prohibition one, those are kind of our favorites. So we'll be out here for the next 3 days helping people. So if you...
Did we ever figure out if Florence is out here?
Who?
Florence.
Not yet, she's not.
We need to go search.
Yeah, she's not here yet. But yeah, so like I said, any questions, we'll be here for 3 days, or anything you want to look at, or you know, it's a great place to walk. Come do that. Watch for the gophers. We pretty much killed all the prairie dogs, but there's still a few gophers.
Thanks for your time.
Sure, thanks for coming.